know me, I'm Tessa. Very few of you though would have met Pecky here. He's the little foal I brought 3.5 years ago. He's now grown up, obviously. Most of you will know me with Hal, who's the smaller version of this. And we became a bit lost after COVID. Hal and I did eventing, but we out-qualified ourselves from BE novice. Well, I say he hasn't got the scope, but realistically I wasn't brave enough to go intermediate. We couldn't drop down to riding club team stuff. We couldn't do badminton grassroots. He's now a grade 2 eventer, which meant it cost me £500 to register him. And then we lost half the events in East Anglia. So I was a bit of a loss at what to do. I've moved up levels in dressage. I'm not a big fan of dressage. I understand how important it is, but it doesn't float my boat that much. But I must admit, as we started doing the twiggy bits, it did start to get more interesting. But we went along to BD, and Hal, as most people know, is a very laid-back dude, and he's got the same opinion of dressage as me, so I need to go in and tee him up and lots of medium canter and let's go. And everybody else in my class is sat on these telephone number warm bloods they remortgaged the house for. And 2 people leading them round and they're like, Steady, can you just sit in the corner? And then they didn't want to talk to me. So I didn't enjoy that. I used to do side saddle, but the problem is when I brought Hal, he was supposed to be this size. And obviously he's 15 too, and I'm not very small. So a side saddle that would fit me and him wasn't going to happen. So we couldn't do that. We used to do horse ball, but for some reason I struggled to find a team of people that wanted to gallop about, fling themselves off the side of our horses, picking up balls and throwing it at each other. So I looked around and I'd heard about working equitation. And the more I looked into it, the more I thought, actually, this is a sport I could really enjoy. It's in 3 parts, like eventing, except at national championships and international level, where you do a 4th part to it, cattle heading. The first part is dressage, which is very similar to what we all do, except there's a few differences. All the tests are in a 25-40 arena, and there's 1 test per class. So you haven't got to learn the extra letters and you haven't got to learn different tests. There's just 1 test. That's it. Nice and easy. And the other thing that's very different is you can do it in what you want. So on one end of the scale, if you want to do it bitless, you can go around and do it bitless. And at the other end of the scale, if you want to go in a 6-inch shandy curve bit with 2 nosebands to keep their mouth shut and a running martingale to keep their head down, you can do that as well. The only thing is what you come up that centre line in for your dressage test is what you wear for the rest of the phases. You can't swap tack like you can in eventing. The dressage is, there's 5 levels. Start off with walk and trot, which is, as you say, walk and trot. Then we have novice classes, which are the equivalent of BD novice elementary. Then you have Inter B, which is the equivalent of medium advanced medium. Inter A, which is the equivalent of Pre-St George. And advanced, which is exactly, it's Pre-St George again, but you do it one-handed. The reason they do things one-handed as you go up the level is the whole idea of working equitation is to show off the working farm horse from mainland Europe, so really your Iberians, your Andalusians, the Portuguese. And whereas the shepherds in this country have a shepherd's crook, over there when they're working cattle, they have a varana pole, minimum of 2 metres long, and they use that to help them control the cattle. So therefore, if I'm walking around with a 2-metre long pole in their hand, you've got to ride one-handed. The other thing I didn't realise, which is embarrassing because I'm a farmer's daughter, is that cattle get spooked by trot. So the more you go up to their levels, there's no trot at all. Everything is in walk or canter, and you get heavily penalised if you show any trot. So the second phase is ease of handling. Most of you are my age, so you probably remember handy pony classes or every little show. And I always think of it as an adult version of handy pony. And it's fun, obviously. It's all about obvious things like drills. The things in the game are the only things that you have to do. You always have to walk together. Canter round the pen, so that's a 4.5 metre vault, come out, and then you have to show separately a flying change to change direction and a half pirouette. You can't combine the two together. That doesn't sound too bad, but the course designers can be quite sneaky and have 6 something like the side, 3 or 4 strides away from the pen, so you've got to come out and do this literally in 3 strides. It's not easy at all. Another obstacle they have is the jug, which obviously when they're out working the animals, they don't get off to have a drink. So you have to show that the horse will come in and stand while you help yourself to a drink. Now, one thing I absolutely love about working equitation is the flamboyance of it. Now, all these obstacles are judged like a dressage test, so you get a mark out of 10 for each one, and then you'll get your collectives, which include things like use of the arena. And instead of, say you have 3 and then jump here, instead of just going straight to the bridge, to the jug, they turn left and go around the arena, and they show off one-time changes or something like that. And then they do what I call the Portuguese flick. So they go around and do a whole load of one-time changes and then do that Portuguese flick to the crowd. As if to say, look how good my horse is. And then things like the jug obstacle. You come in canter, he's not at that level yet. And then you'd have to hold, you would have to show a square, immobile halt. And then there's one guy, the Portuguese national champion, he's got this special shoulder shrug he does. So he stops, and then he does his special shoulder shrug, and then he'll pick up the jug, have his drink, put it down, and then he does the big shoulder shrug again, and then off he goes in canter and Portuguese flip. And he's saying to the crowd and to the judges, look, not only does my horse stand square and immobile, I can move around at the same time and he still doesn't do it. So there's a lot of showmanship involved. I mean, could you imagine if Carl Hester came across, doing a lovely extended trot across the long diagonal, and then in the corner transferred to passage, and then he's sitting there doing the Portuguese flip to the crowd and everything. It's so much more entertaining, If it starts raining and you're watching BD, you can't put your umbrella up, or they're going to lynch you. If you put your umbrella up in flipping working equitation, they probably canter over to you, take the umbrella off, you canter around with it, do a few one-time changes and hand it back to you. It is, the top level is just amazing to watch. Brilliant. Other obstacles you have are to show the horse's agility. So I don't know if this will work. Oh, it is. So you have just one bending pole. Walk and trot novice level. All you have to do is trot between them. That is it. But once you get above that layer, you have to advantage, because the little Andalusians and Lusitanos that do it, they'll do that with the change every 4 strides. And Hal is only 15.2, but he's got a big warm blood stride, and I can't get the 4 strides in. I have to do it on 3. And something like this, I should imagine I'd have to do it on 2. So although I could do it with him, it's going to take me longer to train up to the same level as a horse that it's designed for. There's also some barrels that you have to go round and show the horse's agility. There's what we call the rainback bell. So obviously this horse is level, which is walking. Intermediate and above you cantering, stop, again you have to show you hold, ability, and then you ring the bell, and the horse is expected to stand and not move, and then you have to rein back out again. Now as you go up the level, that will turn into an L, which is only 2 metres wide, so that gives you a lot of room. Walk and trot novice level, you just have one, so you can choose what way you go. And then once you get up to the beginning, it's in the parallel hold. You have to show going both ways. And they also have an L-shaped one. The advanced lot do that in canter. The third part to working equitation is speed. That is the equivalent of Brennan-wise to cross country. I didn't think I'd find something like that, but it's great fun. All the rules go out the window. In walk and trot you're allowed to canter, whereas before the gate and the bridge you had to do in walk, you can do that in canter, and it's just the fastest horse wins that section. And then as I say, you have the cattle at the national championships, which is great fun. Teams of 4 of you. There's a line across the third of the way down the school. You have 12 cattle, all numbered, and you take it in turns to cross that line, find your cow, separate it from the others, and as soon as you get it, there's a pen at the other end. You get it across the line, then the others can help and get it into the pen. And that's great fun. You can do it with any horse. It is designed for the Andalusians and Lusitanos, but I've watched people, and it's a real sport that shows your understanding of your horse and the partnership you've got. And I've watched people that have obviously gone to Spain or Portugal and paid telephone numbers for a horse. You've seen them in the warm-up and you thought, what are we doing here? We're totally outclassed. And then they've come in, they didn't insert the buttons. They've come across to trot across the diagonal. Next moment the horse is cantering, so like, no, wrong button, don't do that. Next moment he's doing one-time changes. So like, no, wrong button, stop. So the next moment he's going backwards. So then they're like, no, wrong button, go forwards. And then it's doing Spanish walk. And I've actually seen that happen. So if you've got little old gypsy cob type or your old hunter or whatever, you go in and do, same as BD or anything, you go in and do an obedient, calm, accurate test. You know, they've just thrown away for lots of marks, you know, in this total misunderstanding, and you can come out better than them. In the obstacles, I'm supported by Suzanne Dipple, who's an advanced rider, and she's a professional. She has horses in to train, she trains working equitation, makes a living out of it. Got a few horses of her own. Her husband builds a lot of equipment to build the bull there. And her horses have probably seen every type of bridge going. Back end of last year, she drove all the way to Spain. Got there, and then her horse just went, oh, I've never seen a bridge. I've never seen a bridge, I can't go over a bridge. So again, you've got something that's calm and obedient. Everybody's beatable. Hal is brilliant at the speed. And one of the reasons he's brilliant at the speed is because he will gallop flat out over all the obstacles, and then we'll come to something like the gate, and he'll just stand while I play with the latch. Now, the most popular horse for working equitation is the bull-fighting bred Lusitanos. And well, you start winding them up and doing the speed obstacles, they go flying around, then they get to something like the gate, well, they're not going to stand still. To them, they've been bred to fight bulls. If they stand still, they're going to get killed. So, having wound them up, suddenly they've lost 15 seconds trying to unlatch the gate. So, you don't have to go out and spend telephone numbers on a Lusitano or Andalusian. There's all sorts of breeds now doing it. Everybody's always said to me, oh, your horse is just do it. You know, you're so lucky to just do it. Well, the one thing I do with my horses is I do try to teach them manners. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But everything I do from the ground first. And, so I'm going to show you what I do first before I get on them. Now I don't religiously stick to any sort of training system at all. Some of you might have met Peppy before. We did James' pub ride, and it was only a couple of months ago that I actually put a bit in his mouth. I did all my long reining and riding with him to start with Monty Roberts head collar. And I love the Monty Roberts head collar and I love the long reining, but personally I think if you've got a horse like this, if you stick it in a round pen till it's exhausted and then get on it, he's not ready to get ridden. You know, he had about 2 years of being long reined before I got on him. I think he needs longer physically and mentally to prepare themselves. This horse I use positive reinforcement training with, or clicker training. This horse will do anything for a treat, and it is so easy to train him like that. Whereas Hal is the total opposite. I have to use negative reinforcement. He thinks I'm going to poison him if I give him food. So with him it would be a case of go back, put pressure on somewhere. I'm going to do that at the end, not now. No, that's the end. His reward would be to put pressure on, take it off when they do it. Then they're two totally separate characters as well, because Hal's the type you have to jump around and it's exciting and let's do things. Whereas this one is a bit, well, what have I got to do to get the treat? I'll be like Boundy on ice and I'll move every foot and I'll offer you this and I'll offer you that. So we have to do lots of standing around, waiting for it to calm down and listen. So I just take bits from various trainers and use the bits that work for me. I don't religiously follow one thing. Most people wait till they get to elementary level and then go, oh, it's got rein back in it, better teach it that. Whereas that's the first thing I teach them. I like to buy my horses as foals, and as such, you think, oh, it's a lovely, cute foal, isn't it cute, isn't it wonderful? And we're going to roll together and do everything together, and it's going to be lovely. The reality is you get this foal who's had a lovely life. He's been out there eating grass and playing with his mates, and there's someone like me comes along, bundles it in a metal box, carts it off somewhere. In his case, because he came from Denmark, you bundle him in a metal ship as well. And then you get them back and you put them in a stable, and they take one look at you and they go, you're the last person I want to be friends with is you, I just want to escape. So you've got to be able to get in the stable. So the first thing I teach my horses is to go back, which you'll find a lot of reverse in working equitation. So it's useful, I find, just to be able to get in the stable. And then, once I've taught them to go back, I then want them to stand still. Stand up. I don't want them to be climbing the wall, trying to escape me the whole time. I think you can stand still. This was useful for me last year because I went on holiday and he decided to go on holiday as well. So has anybody here been to Woodforks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you managed to get in the gate?
It's not easy.
No, ask him.
He went over it, did he?
No, he goes through. He doesn't go over yet. I haven't
Wow.
taught him to jump yet. But he managed to get in Woodforks gate.
Did he?
So they phoned me up and go, got your horse here. And couldn't find anybody. It was a weekday, wasn't it? I couldn't find anybody to go and get him for me, so I had to just do that again. Prejudging me, aren't you? Couldn't find anybody to go and get him, so 8 hours later I got back from holiday, rushed straight over there to go and get him. And of course I go through the fence one way, the road go through the fence the other way, so I took him down the road and got back to my field and realised I hadn't unlocked the gate, had I? So I just left him ground-tied like this on the road. You stood that time, didn't you? And then while I climbed over the gate and went to get the gate, let him in. It has its uses, apart from the fact that every other obstacle in work, the equitation is to show a square, immobile halt. Once we've got backwards and we've got the stand, the next thing we want is to go forward. So we want gear changes as well. So we want to get forward. This was useful because last year everyone knows I broke his hip. So he came out of sympathy and he tried to kill himself at the same time that I was off. And which meant that I couldn't change his bandages or anything. So my vets were absolutely brilliant. And they said, if you get us into us before we start work, we'll change the bandages for you. Except I haven't got road access at my field. So he had to walk from the hay shed I sort of penned him in to the horse box with me on crutches. And bless this little horse, he was absolutely fantastic because he never once knocked me over. I was glad I taught him gear changes and walk slowly then. But once we've got halt, forwards and backwards, we then want them to go sideways. Now this is a bit of a big arse to start with, so I break it down. And I move hind legs over first. Away from us, stand. Well, it's enough. Stand. Well, I know I haven't got any drink. You've got to come back towards us. Wow. And then once we move the hindquarters, we'll be able to move the forelegs over. And then once we've done that, we can put the two together. Over. Stand. Come back.
I feel it deserves a clap.
In reality, wise, I'm next to on long run and start teaching you presentation there. Yes.
Your silk's come off, Tess. Tess, oh.
So, when people say to me, oh, you're so lucky because your horse, come back, your horse just does it, I suppose they're right. Because then when I get on him, I can just do it. And one of the hardest obstacles people struggle with is that. And because we've done the groundwork, come to the gate, and hold, put them out on the ground, walk forwards a bit, move the quarters over, stand, do that hold again,
It's for next month.
She's very useful to ride out with when you need gates doing.
Standing all on the ground, it's then so much easier to do once you're on it. The other thing people struggle with is like way up top. If it all goes wrong, Ali, Lindsay's filled out. I think she's got health and safety people on speed
Are you allowed to use your voice in the competition?
No.
You're not.
Except the speed. The speed is great because they have loud music playing and the crowd are allowed to join in and everything.
That's the sword race, the mounted games. Did you not know? Or the balloon race into the bridge.
Now, if anybody's interested, and wants to know more, I'm going to run a clinic at the private club here. It's all in the name of the school fund. Everything goes to the school fund. We're going to do, I'm going to bring Hal to that one, and I'm going to go through all the obstacles. So there's 2 barrels. Now you think with 2 barrels, there's not a lot to do with 2 barrels. You go round them in a figure of 8 and that's it. But there's 5 different levels and there's 5 different ways of doing the 2 barrels. So I'm going to bring Hal along and go through each of the obstacles and show you how to do each one. And at each level, then we're going to have an in-hand lesson. And then we'll have a rhythm section, then I'm going to set the course up, so you can do the course in that. If anybody's interested in having a look, I'm a supported rider of Suzanne Pickle. Her and a lady called Sarah Booth, both involved riders, now run an affiliate.
Tessa, can I just ask a question? Can we do it with a bridle or do we have to do it with a neck strap? Just there's some muttering in the back row about, oh, I'll do it, but not in a neck strap.
I do think I would get eliminated if I did it. I just thought that without Hal, and I can't sort of go around showing you the fancy, can't go around showing you all the fancy flying changes and everything with this horse, so I wanted to do something a little bit different.
But at the clinic we could have a bride.
I could smell those carrots.
At the clinic people can do it with a bridle, yeah? A normal bridle.
The affiliated one, fairly local. The affiliated one, just go with stand. I'll let you have your carrot. Your affiliated ones, there are not so many locally. There's one at Pine Lodge, which Tina here won, the intervened class on Saturday at. And other than that, they're about 3 hours from us.
So Tessa, do children do it or is it just adults?
There are, so you can have, there's a lead rein class right up to international classes. The lead rein doesn't do the ease of handling most adults don't want to run around doing everything, so they only do the ease of handling section. And then the junior Bs do the equivalent of walk and trot, the junior As do the equivalent of into B, down. And then you have the international classes, which are the equivalent of into A. So I have the choice at the very top level of doing it one-handed or two-handed. You can die for this, you just want these carrots. Go on then, let's show your appreciation.
I get
With the carrot. If anybody's got any questions on it, I'm obviously here for the next 2 days. So feel free to ask me anything about it.
Did you join an association to then compete?
I started off doing the unaffiliated classes that Suzanne does at Beechwood. Well, I did one there. Then I decided to join the affiliated. So I started off at novice, and it was because his accident last year wiped all my savings out, and I discovered that it was actually cheaper to compete than what it was to have lessons. So every time before you do the ease of handling or speed, you have half an hour to walk the course. During that time, the judges are available. So it's a bit like going cross-country walking with the technical delegate or show jumping with the course builder. They're there. So I went around asking all the numpty questions, and nobody took the piss out of me. Everybody was really helpful and friendly. And then you get your sheets back. So I learned that way last year, sort of taught myself. And we did a novice. We won the dressage and we won the speed. We got eliminated in the ease of handling because of the rules. And we went left-handed round a barrel first instead of right-handed. Want another carrot, don't you? And in typical me, I thought, well, the horse is getting older, I'm getting older, we've just been eliminated in novice, so we'll just move up. So we did move up, and then the next time we went out, we were second by 0.25%, because I almost got eliminated again, because the rules say hunting dress. So of course I put on navy jacket, white stock, everything else, and then they went to eliminate me. I was like, why? They said, well, it's a hunting dress. And I was like, I've hunted all my life. This is a hunting dress. They said, no, we mean packing jacket. So what they did was they gave me like a 1 for the turnout part in the end. And I say I was second by 0.25%. And then ever since then, we've won, well, I think he's won everything. Hal ended up unaffiliated into B champion, affiliated into B champion, and the affiliated league champion. Don't eat that. So he's moving up to into A, which is the equivalent of Pre-St George this year. Wow. And this one will do walk and trot tests, because the 4, that's all you can do. If anybody saw his canter this afternoon, we're definitely not ready for that. But the beauty of the unaffiliated events are that we did an unaffiliated event at Beechwood, and no matter how much you do and practice and everything, he went in and there were flowers and numbers and everything, and he just froze. And the first obstacle was the rainback bell, but he wouldn't go in, he just went, don't like this. And so you get 3 refusals or 20 seconds, and then you're eliminated. So he was eliminated, and somebody just come in and led him through, and they let me continue. And he learned so much from doing that. It was brilliant. Whereas if we'd gone affiliated, I could have driven 3 hours somewhere, and that would have been it. I would have been eliminated. That was it. Peps, come on. You should be over here. Come on. That's amazing. I think you've got them, my dog. Good boy. Before you destroy that, can I case he knocks it over, this place will go up the wall. Oh, Debbie! Come on in. Yeah. Oh.
It's not got any gin in it.
No,
Afraid not, it's water.
I drank it. So, if anybody's interested, please come along on the 17th because if you're not interested in having a go, one, it makes your flat work more interesting. I find trotting in 20-metre circles boring as anything. And if you're doing it to, you know, with the obstacles, most of these obstacles you can do yourself. Most of them are all just poles and bollards and cones and things. My bull at home, I won that bull for winning the unaffiliated league, and I've kept it covered up for tonight, so he hasn't really seen it. At home, I've just got one of those roadwork barriers, and I stick a dog toy, the rings you can get, on the top of it. That's my bull at home. My bridge at home, that one I'm keeping for taking out and training, is just a piece of hardboard and things. So, you know, they just need to get used to the sound of it and things. It's not, that one is slightly too short and narrow, but it fits in the car if I want to go out training with it. That's the whole point.
Tess, if people can't do the 17th of May, are you going to do any other dates or training?
If there's demand, yes.
I think there's lots of us that can't do the 17th, but we would like to do it.
Yeah, that's all right.
I think there's about 4 of us here
No.
that possibly want to do it.
So should they maybe give you their names and then you could make contact when you do organise something else?
Yeah, good idea.
I'm going to stop filming.